I think the major issues are law enforcement, water, updating our general plan, education, our budget. I think we need to create a better tax base. Obviously, West Park, strong leadership in our elected officials, discussion of health care, urgent care here on the west side, job creation, economic development, and I believe community engagement in our youth. Well, I believe I have the right temperament for this leadership position. I think my philosophy is inclusion and creating involvement of the residents in the community. I have a lot of experience in public service as a service provider and now as a designer of those services to some of the vulnerable populations in our county community. And I have experience in the private sector as well as serving my country in the United States Marine Corps. I served in the first Gulf War, Desert Storm, and I definitely know how important service is to my family, to the country, and to the community. I lead by example. I do a great job in facilitating meetings because I respect people's perspective. I honor their time and understand the importance of reaching decisions in a timely manner. I'm open to the leadership by example because I provide an opportunity for people to engage by listening to their concerns and their passions and hopefully directing them in a way that they can get involved to improve their lives and their community. Well, I think some of the projects that have been positive for the city are things like the aquatic center, the fire station, improvements to the sports complex. We've seen, are going to have an official groundbreaking for the senior center, which I think is positive. Joint use facilities with the school district, I think, is very positive. And the industrial buildings that have gone up, that have yielded some good corporate neighbors. I think the challenges, even though these are good projects, I don't think what has been considered with these projects is the amount of homes, traffic congestion, rather than building to promote walking and biking communities, I think has been lost. I think we also should be looking at what the general plan was originally intended to do. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction to the West Park project. I think that some of that activity has mirrored the steering committee of the Crow's Landing project at the county supervisor level. And I think sometimes that the mistakes that have been made in that general plan revision advisory group has mirrored the not taking that group seriously. And I think that at times it appears that conflict of interest may be taking place because you have landowners and developers who are weighing in heavily, and some think that they shouldn't be at the table. I feel that we need a balance, but the perception is that it's a land grab. I think it's a little bit of a mistake to have a landowner developer facilitate the particular group. I think we should have more elected officials working with city staff in determining what this should look like. And I understand it's going to come back to the Planning Commission and the City Council for decisions, but I think that that process was flawed. It was hurried, it was an aggressive timeline, and we've had to start over, and I think that doesn't honor the time and participation of the people who sit on that particular GPAC. I think currently, I believe our current general plan allows for approximately 31,000 by 2012, if I remember correctly. Personally, I'd like to see the population about 35,000 in the next 10 years and 50,000 in the next 20. And the reasons is that until we can adequately provide a solid infrastructure, such as water, sewer, relieve the traffic congestion, plan for better walkable and bikeable communities, and not to mention a better tax base, we really, and amenities for residents, we really need to consider tempering our growth until we can provide a better infrastructure before we do anything else. I think we need to meet the basic needs of any development, and I think that threshold of the 10 and 20 years, 35 and 50 years, 35 and 50,000 residents respectively in the 10-20 year I think is adequate. You know, having not heard the type of skill set and education that's needed for these jobs that the project is touting, 37,000 jobs, not being privy to all the information that's been presented to the city, whether it be in closed session or particular meetings where city officials and county officials and the developer are there, I think it's hard for me to determine what is right and what is wrong. And I've heard some of the negative impacts. I don't necessarily agree with some of those negative impacts, but again, I'm looking forward to the discussion and inheriting the project when elected. And then I'd like to really discuss what things are. I think the original plan, the 1527 acres, is something that I think is doable. But when you talk a little bit more, I think we need to have that discussion. So there are a lot of unknowns at this point. I would like to definitely see a training center, a job training center on the front side of this project, if it should happen. The job creation I think is positive, but again, I think there are too many unknowns for us to proceed as is. I think the original plan, like I said, of the original footprint of 1,527 acres is something that I would like to begin a discussion with. But again, not being privy to all the information, you know, there's a lawsuit going on right now. That is something I'm not privy to. So until that information is available to me, I can make better decisions. But I'm willing to inherit it and discuss it once elected.